Hey yo, welcome back to the Boston Sports Brothers podcast. Another week with a disappointing start to it on Sunday as our tea and crumpets did not go according to plan. It started off looking good, and then it all went downhill after a 10-0 lead. Uh, there's so much to get into. We can talk about the game. We can break down the game. But honestly, fellas, there's so much more in the greater scheme of things for the Patriots. So let's, sort of set the table with everything that's there. J-Mac, kick us off as you usually do with the Pats. We'll go around, but everything's on the table because the game, I think, at this point in time is only a small piece of the Patriots pie. So it's aside from that, it's great to see you all for another episode. I'm excited to be here, and we got some other real exciting things that are kicking off this week as well to dive into. So J-Mac, take it away with the Patriots, and we'll get around town.
Awesome. What's up, guys? J Matt here.
Hey,
Hope y'all had a good week. I had a good one. It was a good weekend too.
Bonks, chunks.
Crazy weather we're having here right now. It's kind of like 80 degrees, little tease here in October, but we'll take it. That's for
false
sure.
fall.
It's false fall. We'll love it though.
The 12
Um,
seasons of New England.
yeah. Hey, get a beach day in October. We'll take it, right?
Bonus days, bonus days. We love it.
For sure. Okay, so where to begin? I'm not Gerard Mayo, so I can say this, but this team is really soft. Um, he was honestly, he was right. He's the coach. He can't say that, but he was absolutely on point. They're soft, as soft as butter. You can just get right through them. The defense couldn't get off the field. They got absolutely run over by Tank to Big B, no less, who's pretty good, but he's the Jags' number two running back to Travis Etienne. So that's saying something right there. The special teams giving up the punt return for a touchdown. So much for that huge contract for Sunshine over there, the gunner. So that's looking great. But in all the darkness, I do see a little sliver of light. With all of that being said, Drake May looks good. He can handle the offense. He can slide in the pocket. He can roll out when need. He's feeling the game a little bit. He did make some bad throws that probably should have been interceptions, at least one in my opinion. But the offense looks better, and Van Pelt, I think he's benefiting a little bit from it, but they need to get a running game to help him, which is non-existent. So there's a lot of bad things that are happening, but I think Drake May looks pretty solid, so not all bad.
Not all bad. Who wants to take the baton and run with it?
Can I take it here? I
Of
think I want to
course.
look at a positive and negative. So let's just look at the first half of this game. All right. I'm going to take the positive side first. Fantastic first quarter for the Patriots.
Maybe the
We
best
let
first quarter
that
of the
we
season.
best first quarter of the season. You want to? That's something that should be celebrated.
I
Let's
felt
go.
so
Good job,
good.
Patriots.
I felt
Good
so
job,
best.
Patriots.
That was the best I felt in a long time, and then it
I was
quickly
I
got
was I was up in way up there in New Hampshire, watching it on my phone, very excited, very happy. And then we're gonna take a turn for the worst. So then we turn to the second quarter. And oh my God, I don't think I've witnessed a worse quarter of football in my entire life. They didn't know what to do. They left the punter out to try and tackle the punt returner. The defense literally did nothing. Thank God we have Drake May. That's about it. That's those are my thoughts. Next.
It's funny. It's funny to think that all is right, maybe with our quarterback position, when all along we thought that our running game would be strong, our defense would be strong, our special teams would be strong, and then our offense would struggle a bit with the quarterback situation. And now it's like completely flipped. We're like, ooh, Drake May is like the highlight of this team right now. So that's kind of funny to me how it's flipped so soon in the season. Also, for me, it's like the Patriots are like the get right team for everybody else. I heard that on the radio today, and I completely agreed with that. The Jets are coming in next week, and they're thinking, Patriots, this will help us get back on track. This will help our offense get back on track, and we'll be good for the rest of the season. So
Gambling tip. Put a lot of money on the Jets next week. You'll be happy. You'll be very happy you did.
the Patriots are officially the get right team for everybody else in the NFL. It's kind of sad.
They are.
So let's be real here. We all knew what was coming. So I don't know why anyone would be surprised. For me, myself personally, what I want to see out of this team this year is them trying to find some sort of identity, trying to take their third and fourth stringers that they have on defense, because let's not forget we have 4 or 5 of our main guys out completely, which is why it looks like a complete mess. So why not have those guys take a step forward, get a little bit better? Then from there, now now we're starting to move into the latter part of the season. Now we can start getting some congruity or whatever you want to call it together, and just in my eyes, I really look at this more as developing Drake May, finding an identity for the team, and just trying to get better week by week, because we know we're not going to win games. Like, let's face facts. But if we can mitigate the penalties and the things that are on us, I think we're going to be okay moving forward. Uh, just from what I said there.
Yeah, Kraz, like that's a good way to look at it. Unfortunately, like it's a super low bar to achieve, but that's like where they're at in terms of where they can get to. My fear is that this team is so far gone with both on the field and off the field things that are happening, and that Mayo has just and somehow in 7 weeks lost complete control of the situation with no help of his superiors and the general manager or ownership. And I just don't know if they have the collective ability to be able to even do that. It's so far gone. You talk about the game and just how things flipped, and there was no response. And Zoe's talking about they're coming out of halftime, and everybody already looks defeated. The way that they just got completely gashed on the ground once again, they're giving up over 175 yards of ground a game on the ground in the last 3 games. Like they're not playing winning football or even close to it. And just like, I don't, from the game standpoint, like Drake May, it's good to see that there's a representative quarterback, and who knows what could have happened had they put him in earlier. I think now looking back, like you should have just let it ride from the beginning here. But I don't know. I can't even talk about the games because I just walk away from it every week. Where it's just like, oh, here we go.
Lottie, to build off your point though about them giving up 185 yards over the last 3 games on the ground, last year they had an identity of being one of the best teams that did not give up yards on the ground. I looked up a stat that they only gave up 92 yards on average all year last year, and that was tops in the NFL, top 10. So that's I think what we're all really upset about is that they've taken a real step back in aspects where we thought that they were going to take a little bit of a step forward or be consistent in. The offense we know has like a really that's a big question mark, and they need to build on that. But the defense is just really, really that's really shitty to me.
Yeah, I mean,
there was a certain coach. There's a certain coach today who was, you guys might know him for a certain name. He used to, be a coach here in New England, the Hoodie, who was talking about specifically about the run defense and how they were a great unit last year, and how telling them that they're soft is probably not a great move because he knows that they're not soft. So, I think the proof is in the pudding. It's not just the players, it's the coaching too. I think this speaks volumes about like football. I think coaching is important at all levels, but I think coaching in football in particular takes on such a heightened like role because of the amount of nuances in the game. And
I think Gerard's over his head.
I think Gerard is not ready for it.
Yeah, and 100%.
I think that's Belichick's way of saying, hold on, let's not put it all on the players here. Let's take a look at the coaching staff. Let's take a look at management. Let's take a look at Elliott Wolf. Take
a look at ownership.
Do we have faith in these people? I mean, I've said it a few times in the past couple of weeks. Like, I don't know if I have faith in that group. And it already looks like Jalen Polk might be like a round 2 bust at this point. Yeah. So it's like
best hands in the NFL.
I mean, it's just like, I don't know. My faith is running thin here.
I don't know if we'll ever draft a good receiver up high. I feel like we are cursed. N'Keal Harry, Aaron Dobson.
Got to make a trade like Randy Moss.
Johnson.
Talking about our receivers, Pop Douglas, man, what was up with him? He started out hot, had 2 catches on that first drive, like looked like a great target for May, and then all of a sudden he wasn't there. He was gone. He was had an illness.
I think they thought he had a head injury or something. He had something.
No, they said a stomach illness. I thought that's what I've heard.
He had too many chippies. Too many chippies out in England.
Yeah, maybe too many pints, if you ask me.
Him and Tyquan Thornton were out and about, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. Not a good look,
Bad,
you know.
You get
bad influences.
Really, really
Well,
could have used him.
Taekwon's not doing shit. Taekwon can do whatever he wants.
you get
I mean, he
bad
was sitting
fried
there on the
fish.
sidelines in friggin' sweatpants and a sweatshirt. So I mean, come on.
Well, let's talk about some of the players and the things that are going on from a player standpoint. And just to wrap up the point on Belichick, like it goes back and reinforces what we've said. Like he did a lot to keep the train on the tracks, even though it felt like it was so far off the tracks. But the train is nowhere to like even be found right now. Like cars are literally falling off of the train, in terms of the players and the ownership group. So let's break it down. The ownership, Mr. Kraft, Bob Kraft, and Jonathan Kraft deserve a lot of blame here because this entire situation that has unfolded since number 12 walked out the door is ultimately their responsibility and their succession planning and their ability. If there's these great leaders and these great businessmen, you have this shit locked down and have an understanding of how you're going to do it. And maybe they thought they did in moving forward here with Mayo, but whatever's going into that decision-making process is not working. It is not working. And they have to
I don't
reevaluate
think
themselves.
I don't think Mayo was the first candidate for them to begin with. From
What do
what
you
I
mean?
remember listening.
Kraft said he picked out
I'm
Mayo
pretty sure
from
he
that
was.
trip in Israel
He
like
was,
5 years
yeah,
ago.
he definitely
Relax,
was.
relax, relax, relax.
I'm
I'm just giving my opinion. What I heard was that they didn't want to buy him out of the $10 million, so they said go ahead and be the coach. That's all I was gonna say. Simple as that. Not that I'm not saying that he wasn't their first option. It's just that they didn't want to pay him out. And again, it comes down to ownership not wanting to freaking pay people.
So
That's
that I
simple.
mean that's the issue then. Like owner,
Good full circle.
you're not you're not like if you're not willing to make the best decision in the interest of finances when it comes to the team, then why are you owning the team? Like you're not doing what's best for the team. You're doing what's best for your pockets. And when you're an
And
owner
that's not to
like
say
that,
that Gerard isn't the coach for this team at some point in the future, but clearly from everything that the insiders are saying, it wasn't the time right now, and the major factor of that was because they didn't want to buy him out of his contract. So,
I would
like
like
you
to
guys said,
argue that if they were really thinking about their pockets, they would want the team to be good because that's how they're going to stuff their pockets the most. I was there
no,
2 weeks
John
ago.
Henry.
It was empty. No, I think the difference between the Patriots and the Red Sox is pretty stark. And let me put it this way: the Red Sox, they play during summer at a historic ballpark.
Yeah.
It's accessible in the city. Even if it's a bad product, people will go because it's the Red Sox. I'm going to Fenway Park. It's fun. You want to go down Route 1 in the middle of November when it's 40 degrees and cold to watch a shitty ass product in a place that takes 3 hours to get out of? It's not 1-to-1.
Might
And
take
you
one
want to,
hour if there's no one there.
well, still Route 1. So let's not give them too much credit there. But
well,
I think my biggest point here is if they want to make money, the team needs to be good. And you want to know what? Maybe their philosophy right now, without saying it, is let's bottom out and build it up from the inside out. Start with the quarterback and just try and go from there. If that is, I mean, I think it's a short-sighted plan, but I could see it happening too.
Yeah. I mean, I think their hands were tied. I think they kind of knew that their roster was crappy and it's going to take a few drafts to build it back up because Bill missed for a few years there and in a lot of his draft picks. Like, let's be completely honest. And he ran the show and he didn't set them up fully for the future. He did in some ways, but definitely not on the offensive line. Like that's a huge miss, I think, over the past, what, like 5, 10, 5, 7 years even. They've been kind of crappy in that aspect. So I think that it's going to take a few years for the draft to build them up. And, they're in really big rebuild mode and hopefully they can get a few people to sign here, but that could be tough.
The ownership situation is just frustrating to see, and just like from a high level standpoint, like with both us talking about the Red Sox and Patriots ownership, it's like you can win championships, but that can only cover so much for when it's very blatantly obvious in terms of what's going on. So there's issues up and down when it comes to the entire organization of the Patriots. The players, we talked briefly about Jalen Polk and what his situation was post game. The wide receiver room in general is just all over the place. The KJ Osborne situation and that thing coming out was insane to see that he wasn't going to play. And then on Saturday night at the last minute, because Baker was sick, they told him he was going to play. And then he puts out the message from his agent afterwards, like, there's just the things that are happening and that are publicly being shown do not seem like what goes into being a successful football team. You got players taking blunt cruises down Elmwood Ave. I mean, it's just all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, and I just like from the outsider's perspective, like I feel like we just sound like spoiled brats because it's been so good for so many years, and now we're finally truly experiencing a full rebuild here, which you don't really experience much in Boston. It's kind of like a half build, or they have pieces and they make the playoffs or whatever. But yeah, it's just I don't know. I think there's so many other teams that kind of go through this year in year out. So in
Cleveland.
my
Cleveland
yeah,
lives its existence every year. They just
so
booed their
like
quarterback for getting injured. I mean, he is an alleged
Open
a sexual
ass.
assaulter.
Oh, that was
But
gonna be one of my featured
we'll get
moments.
there. We'll get there later. But
Yeah, I honestly, I'm over the Pats. I couldn't even, after 2 quarters, I was like over it. I'm done talking about them. Honestly, they don't really deserve our time
They
anymore.
may they
I'm
may
going to talk about them until the season's over.
well
Yeah,
no they'll be talked about, but they're
there's not
quickly
much else I want to talk about. Let me get to this.
they're
I'm
quickly
saying
going
not.
to
I'm
be.
saying not tonight. I'm
Yeah,
over
this
them.
evening, we can put a nail in the coffin on the Patriots and wait until next week against the Jets, where who knows what will happen. I mean, as Eric said, I would put your money on the Jets to cover and then some. Guarantee that Devontae Adams and Rogers probably goes off again, and I mean
Yes, I
that's
was
what
just about
we're
to say
looking at.
that.
So, well, we were talking about, having some pieces and having a team that stays consistent, and that is the Boston Bruins, who are off to a decent start this season on a West Coast road trip where they will wrap things up tomorrow evening. We're recording here on Monday night, so tomorrow evening, Tuesday, they'll play the Nashville Predators in their next game. And Gabe, give us the overview of the week, what it's been like for the Bruins. I think I don't even know what happened. Tell us.
you know, yeah, the Bruins have only played a couple games since we last spoke, since we last potted it up, whatever the the verb
Whatever you
there would
want to
be.
call it.
Whatever the hip term is now.
Yeah. They're kind of muddling along themselves here. I mean, they got a big win against the Avalanche. I know we kind of highlighted that game on the last episode. They beat the Avalanche 5-3 there. Korpisalo got a win. Hampus Lindholm and Pasternak each scored and had a good game. Then they go to Utah, which is a crazy barn apparently. They were in control of that game. We were watching it, Sam. They were in control of that game going into the third period, up 1-0. Probably should have had more goals there, but lost it at the end. Brad Marchand had a terrible turnover. You see Monty on the bench giving it to him, absolutely ripping into
lighting him up.
Marchand after that. And it just kind of goes downhill from there. They Utah scores a quick goal in overtime, and it's a loss. I mean, you pick up a point there, but you want to in every situation. So especially in the division that the Bruins are in. So um I think we said it last week, things are moving along. Things
I,
are moving along. They're still trying to figure out, these new pieces they brought in and how to play them properly. And I think hopefully it will improve, once they get home, some more home cooking and we'll see how it goes from there.
I
I
feel
don't want
good.
to poo-poo. I don't want to poo-poo the Avalanche win, but they were 0-4 at the time, right? Or was that their fourth game they lost? What a talented team to be, also I think that's the other lesson here too in hockey. I feel like even talented teams don't get off to good starts. So I still feel like there's still a great opportunity here. Like Josh was just saying, you feel good, right?
Yeah,
Like I don't feel terrible
100%.
about things
No,
here.
I feel great. Their 2 losses are to Florida. They're 3-1 if you count the Florida losses. I feel good about the team. I think they're gelling. I think it does take time, like Gabe said, but PK, they're sitting at 13th in the league. They're at 82%. They're gonna build that up. We know them. That's one of the staples of the Bruins is their PK. They're gonna start scoring more. It's still early to really, talk about all the stats, but I feel good about them. I do. I think they're young. They're one of the youngest rosters actually in the league, believe it or not. They somehow flipped the roster in like the last 2 years. and they have some real players. Even like these young guy, what is it, Kopecky or how do you
Oh
say
yeah,
his name?
Cole Kopech, I think.
Yeah,
Go back, yeah.
he's been a real contributor so far. So they just got to keep it up. But I feel good about them. I do. It's early, but I feel
Well,
good.
it's easy to go younger when you don't have guys like James Van Riemdijk on your roster, and
Yeah,
But
all
the
the
thing
bridge
is,
players.
but they've
Krejci,
been like,
those guys are old.
but they were like battling for like in the playoffs deep against Florida, and they've somehow been able to, they're not the Patriots where they're like having to do this rebuild where they're like being at the bottom of the league. They're like somehow, like Gabe said, like they're able to redo this on the fly, which is you got to give kudos to them and their front office and even the ownership. They are invested in the team and it shows.
I think the best thing for like Bruins fans in general in hockey has been a salary cap. As soon as that was instituted, the Jacobs have spent to the salary cap almost every single year since that's happened. So I know that there have been a lot of complaints about them in the past and how they've ran the Bruins, but since Cam and Don have been running the show as well, things have been looking pretty good. So I got to commend them as well.
I mean, they
It's
got to bring a cup home, but they've
Yeah,
been
For
I mean
sure.
competitive.
that's the one that's really the one thing other than 2011 that this team if this team had another cup or two we would talk about them the same way as in the Patriots and Red Sox lore of these players and teams that have these they're still cemented in their legacy, don't get me wrong, but you have to give credit to the ownership group for doing exactly what you just said there, keeping a competitive product. You almost have an expectation that the Bruins will make the playoffs year in and year out.
You know who's got a competitive product?
Who's
The
that?
Boston Celtics.
I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. Of course they do. Look at that world champion shirt. Anyone before we move on to the Celtics and what's obviously going to be a spectacular evening coming up? Any final Bruins thoughts to close things out? Are we ready for the other Causeway Street team?
I mean, I could have a few parting thoughts here.
Well, yes, part us away.
Let's do
I'll
it.
part us away. I think this Bruins team is built like so many Bruins teams in the past. Strong goalie tandem, strong defense, and then it's like the weak kind of offense with five men on the ice. I think I was looking at some stats today. They're pretty much last in the league in most offensive stats with five guys on the ice on five on five hockey. Um, so obviously we're not too far into the season here. I'm not like saying that like I'm panicking or anything, but it's just something to keep a keep your eye on just because that is kind of typical Bruins fashion to like struggle in the 5v5 scoring department. So I guess let's keep an eye on that.
It's also typical Bruins to have a great fourth line and then just like a top six where you're a little bit underwhelmed. So
Oh my God.
Bruins.
So Bruins. So Bruins.
We'll take it though, and just keep being competitive as the hockey world says. If you're in a playoff spot or close to it by the time American Thanksgiving comes around, you should be primed to make a run for the rest of the season. So, lots to be looking forward to. A few games coming up this week. Predators tomorrow, and then Dallas on Thursday. It's a quick note for the listeners here. If you're looking to go to a game, that Dallas game looks like a good one to look into. Check out the different ticketing apps, if you will, to see what you can. And as Eric mentioned, he's wearing his world champion Celtics shirt. The get-in price to that game tomorrow is through the
Ooh,
fucking roof.
so
And the
beautiful.
banner 18 will also be headed
Let's
to the roof. So
go.
uh,
Raise it.
really excited for tomorrow night, kicking the season off against the Knicks. Lots of things to touch on. Big E, take it away. Let's talk Celtics and the most exciting team in town by far.
I mean, let's talk about the opportunity to I don't want to even say defend a championship because that last year is last year. It's another opportunity to earn another championship. So this team is locked and loaded. They got all the motivation in the world to get off to not just a fast start, but show that last year was not a fluke in any way, shape, or form. Because I think there's been some unfair notions about that team last year that you guys had an easy path in the playoffs. Well, you want to know what? We're going to show you that it wasn't a fluke. We're going to do it again, and we're probably going to put up some historic numbers along the way.
And Eric,
Um,
just to touch on that really quick about the whole easy ride, a lot of people did say that they had an easy ride, but if you look back at the last few NBA champions and who they faced in the finals, they also had easy rides as far as injuries go. So why they get this thing about having an easy ride, I don't really get. I just think they're a super
You
dominant
play who
team.
you play. Like you
Exactly.
can't
Yeah,
you don't
can't
make
control
who you
that.
don't yeah, no.
I mean, Dallas was no slouch. Dallas came out
No.
of a loaded West. I candidly thought it was going to be Minnesota for a little bit too, who was also really good. Like, and you want to, and I don't mean this as any disrespect to any of those teams. I don't think it really mattered. This team was just locked and loaded and motivated. And you know, even if Porzingis had been injured throughout the finals, I still think we would have won. It may have taken an extra game, but I still feel like this roster was supremely talented and better than top to bottom any other team they played last year.
Well, he got injured in what, game two last year, right? Because he had the unreal game one, or did he get injured at the end of game one?
I think it was game one.
So
It was
but for the most part, the Celtics went through the playoffs without one of their top three players, and nobody talks about that. Not that you have to, but I mean, he
game
was
two in the Heat series. So he
yeah.
he did make
So
it through the
Mhm.
first game. That was it.
so I'd say 80-90% of the playoffs, they played without one of their top three players. And you
Mhm.
could see the impact that he brought to the court when he was there. So it looks like he might be a little bit ahead of schedule in getting back. But to be quite honest, take your time. Let's dive into, yeah, slow roll. A few things that are sort of nuggets here with the Celtics. Lonnie Walker, who was putting in that time, unfortunately waived more due to a financial consideration there. Do we know if he ended up in Maine or what the deal is with him?
I
We'll
don't
see.
believe so. I don't believe yet, but maybe that's a possibility. Part of me wonders if like they took him on. It was kind of like a wink, wink handshake agreement about like even just a showcase to see if there was someone else that was potentially interested in him because he is supremely talented. But I think our roster is also really loaded, so it's
Or
hard to find room for him.
or like you said, a wink wink handshake kind of a thing where it's gonna be like we're gonna waive you, but just hold on, you're gonna come up once all
I,
those
I,
things settle, and then the
I mean, I
money,
Also,
don't
like
think.
money things and all that
a
stuff.
showcase for the rest of the league to see that he could potentially still be good.
I mean, I think the other thing too is like it's going to be hard for this team to do anything via like trade, just where the roster is and the salary cap crunch. So if he is still unsigned come end of February, and they think that he could be a piece that could help, I mean, there's always the possibility we could bring him back. Maybe that's part of the handshake, wink, wink. If you don't want to go somewhere, you're not going to get paid, what you feel like is representative. Go to Maine, go to Europe, and when you're ready to get a buyout and come back, we'll take you
Don't win a
on. So
championship.
Well, hopefully the door's open for Lonnie Walker to come back. Looks like the starting lineup will be intact, and you'll probably see a rotation of Horford and Cornette. I can't imagine that Horford's going to be playing in back-to-backs and that they're going to be strategic about his playing time overall. But this team should be a really, really good team throughout the course of the season. Lots to be excited for. So we're kicking things off against the Knicks tomorrow night, and
the
then we
new look
move
Knicks.
the
The
new look Knicks
Knickerbockers.
with the big cat, the big Kit Kat, and and then they head down to the Capitol to take on the there you go, Eric. To get into it, baby. Maybe you can be him. Maybe you can be him for Halloween.
Oh,
Wow.
And down to DC to take them on Thursday, and then a game Saturday against the Pistons. So a loaded week for the Celtics as they kick things off. A couple oh yeahs for the Celtics that we'll get to when we get
real
to that
quick,
segment.
be on the watch out for Sam Hauser's revenge game in Washington on game two. Last year, he was on pace to
Oh
break the
yeah.
3-point record, and he ended up twisting an ankle. Something tells me there's unfinished business there.
Did we hit the over on Sam Hauser threes?
Ooh, all right. See, look at this.
Every
The parlay is literally getting built throughout the episode here.
we're at the point where every night's gonna be either a Celtics or a Bruins game. It's the
Oh,
best time of year,
Oh
gentlemen.
my God.
fantastic. Especially
Yes.
when it's two teams who are going to be competitive night in and night out and give you games that are representative products. Thank goodness for that. And as I said, a few final things we'll wrap up on the Celtics and oh yeah, yeah. Oh, but there is a bit of news to come out of Fenway Park and Jersey Street. Kraz, break it down, a few off-season nuggets here for the Red Sox, and then we'll set the stage for the World Series.
Yeah, so I believe we brought in they put out an ad in the paper for a baseball scientist, the
Oh God.
Boston Red Sox. an actual job posting for a baseball scientist. I think that role was filled today by an executive from Tampa Bay, a gentleman by the name of Taylor Smith. He's going to come
Taylor
in,
Swift.
hopefully. Taylor Swift, yeah, right.
Wait,
He's
Swifty
hitting
energy?
87. Yeah, Swifty energy,
They
baby.
could use some of
What's
that.
the point of them putting an ad in if they know they're just gonna sign a Tampa Bay executive?
I have
I
no
don't get
idea.
that. I don't
Ugh.
get it.
So the theory
Just a
behind it
joke.
is to bolster the front office, so that way, if the front office is bolstered, they can go out and spend the money. That's really what they're thinking about doing. Then that's awesome. Go ahead and go do that, but put your money where your mouth is, please, and open up your wallet. Um, it's going to definitely be an exciting World Series. I hate to say that the Yankees are in it. Kind of
Speaking
fucking
of two
Let's
sucks.
teams that's
go.
opened up their wallets, that's for sure. Dodgers and
Let's go. The
Yankees.
Dodgers is. Dodgers
Let's
is.
go
Yeah.
Dodgers.
Dodgers is.
Mookie,
Red Sox,
Michael
take a note.
Kopech, Mookie.
Take a note, and you can get back there. You gotta be willing to spend like these teams.
Shohei's gonna hit 80 home runs this World Series. Book it.
Let's go
I hope
Dodgers.
so.
Uh,
Let's go Dodgers. They do have home field advantage, so they that's one thing that they can. I mean, and they're a good road team anyway, so I'm not really too concerned. The two really haven't met up against one another that much. There's a little bit of prior history with Garrett Cole playing for the Pirates. That's where he kind of came out from. So we'll see what happens with that. But
Thinking for
I
the
do
Dodgers,
expect it.
you got to pitch around Soto a little bit. You got to treat him. He's on fire right now, and you got to treat him like that.
You can pitch the Judge though.
I think
Yeah.
so.
190 something right now. He's batting
The MLB
194 last I checked.
the MLB playoffs have been spectacular, and while we certainly don't want the Yankees to win another championship, if you're Major League Baseball and you take a look at this matchup for the World Series, you couldn't ask for better. I mean, you have stars on both sides. You have New York, LA. It is as high profile as it gets for baseball, and it should be a fabulous series. I think the Dodgers are a little bit more talented and should probably walk away with it, but it'll be fascinating. And while we're on New York and sort of them being the epicenter of the sports universe,
Excuse me.
the New York Liberty walk away with the WNBA championship last night in what was a spectacular, like
Controversial call.
Only a
Actually,
little bit of
I heard.
controversy.
lots of controversy, lots of just like back and forth. I tuned in the second half, and it was like, like low 30 or high 30s, midway through the third quarter from a scoring standpoint. I was like, this is just a back and forth slog to get a bucket. Sabrina Ionescu, like one of 19, unbelievable that they were able to pull that off. And Nayara Sabali, I believe is her name, had the game of her life and covered for Sabrina for the Liberty, and they walk away with a championship. Any WNBA championship game thoughts if you were able to tune in or even see the highlights from afar?
I watched like the end of the fourth quarter and overtime. I wished I watched more, but I saw a little bit of the controversial play with the travel, which definitely was a travel. So like I can understand why fans were upset about that. But in overtime, the Liberty put it away. The Lynx had a great opportunity to, you know, play and win too. They just ran out of gas. These teams do not like each other either. I don't know if you saw the coach afterwards, where like apparently one of the Lynx coaches said something that it was like, they should have won and like they should have made that call. And the Liberty coach was not having any of it. And good for her. Like she just won a championship. Don't get
Petty.
let someone get under your skin there. But oh my God, what a great game! And also, I think it's also great for the WNBA. It's one of the original franchises. The New York
It
Liberty.
is they are. I
It is
think,
the original franchise, so it's great to see them win. Except the fact they're a New York team.
True.
Yeah, it might be the one New York team I can semi-stand because I do like Brianna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu. But I didn't realize that Minnesota led the WNBA in most championships either. That was a little tidbit I got while watching the game.
Little shit talking for the manager.
Yeah.
It was it was fascinating. I mean, there's nothing better than a winner take all championship game, and that had everything that you could have wanted out of it. The play on the court, the controversial calls, the legitimate rivalry between the two teams was all great to see unfold. And congrats to the New York Liberty. We hope you are the only New York team to walk away with a championship this year.
Agreed.
Interesting WNBA wrinkle that came out today. Apparently, the players opted out of their collective bargaining agreement. So hopefully there is not a shortened season next
Hey.
year, but something tells me that we may have a potential labor dispute going into the
You-
next season.
you know
Because
what's
Pay
that-
those women.
It's only going to
Pay the
benefit the
women.
women, baby.
Good. I agree.
Going to benefit them. So
You
do
know
it.
what's going to happen.
Want a shortened season? Give it to them.
This goes back to our conversation last week where you better have your Amazon Fire Stick ready to go because somebody's going to buy the rights to that. That's a streaming service that you're definitely going to need to watch those games. But they deserve it. I mean, the league took off this year. They deserve more revenue to be coming into that league and to restructure things. And it's a credit to the play on the court and certainly the new players that we've discussed and the overall Caitlin Clark effect, if you will, and everything that comes with that. It's no discredit to anybody else, but let's be honest, she is the boat rising the other ones. So,
But to go along with that collective bargaining thought, Caitlin Clark only came out of I think first round pick making like $70,000 or something like that.
that's ridiculous.
I mean,
Yeah.
I know she's sponsored everywhere, but
Yeah.
I mean, that's just terrible.
Pay these women; they
The
deserve
G
it.
leaguers make
yeah,
more than
the-
Caitlin Clark.
The 10th
gotta-
pick's probably not sponsored, so what are
No,
they making, right? You know?
Right. Yeah.
you got to
Right.
raise the base salaries there to be commensurate, with the current standing. That making 70K as your salary as Caitlin Clark is absolutely bonkers.
No.
Uh,
No.
like deserves way more than that. So we'll keep our eyes on WNBA as Gabe talked about last week. Player movement, free agency, all that sort of stuff that comes along with the off season is now going to take shape, and there's that for you. So that covers everything around town, gentlemen. Any
Quick
other
little,
thoughts?
I have a quick little thought about the World Series. Just for two real, historic franchises, this is the first time that they've faced each other since 1981. I thought that was a very interesting stat, being such, high profile teams. And also, this is the first time that the Yankees have been in the World Series since 2009, believe it or not, which is kind of crazy. It's been what, 15 years now? So for such
it was
these,
longer.
yeah, me too, obviously, but I
Their
mean,
drought can still continue if
15
Go
years.
Dodgers
Dodgers.
is win.
It's a pretty
Go
big drought. So,
Dodgers.
Go
yeah,
Dodgers.
I just thought those were interesting. I wanted to throw those in. So
David
I'm
Ortiz
looking.
curse.
I'm looking forward to the World Series. I'm going to be invested and I'm going to watch. So I'm
No
looking
doubt.
forward to it.
I saw a stat that said the Yankees have won. I think it was their 41st American League Championship Series, which is
Boo.
absolutely insane. Hey, we hate him, but what a credit to that franchise to be as consistent as they've been throughout the course of time. Big E,
It's time for my
relinquish the
favorite,
mic.
my favorite segment of the week. It's time for the Yao. Oh yeah!
I could still hear it taking out the headphones. We got
That's when you know it's a
First
good
one.
one.
yeah,
Reverb.
yeah. Turn your car speakers down when you're listening to the pod.
Oh
You hear that.
yeah! Oh,
Anyways,
yeah.
Kraz, you got a couple
Yeah, I'm
that
not
we got to
gonna,
touch
I'm not
on.
gonna. Yeah, let's first bring up Mr. Well, actually,
Barmore.
no, yeah. So I remember what it was from last week. Someone was talking, and I just lost my train of thought. So, it was who played last week in London? Was it Minnesota?
Yeah.
I think it was Minnesota.
Minnesota and the
Yeah.
Jets and the Jets.
Yeah,
That's
Minnesota.
right.
and the
Robert
Jets,
Sala got
and-
fired.
and they were playing Sweet Caroline. And it was like, what are we doing playing Sweet Caroline at Wembley Stadium? If we're gonna play Sweet Caroline, we're gonna do it when New England Patriots, you know what I mean, Red Sox. There's a little bit. There's a relationship there. But they play country roads.
Does England
What the
know
hell?
about the relationship? I don't think they do.
Of what? Sweet Caroline and New England?
No, I don't think they do.
Well, I mean, I just feel like it would have been more appropriate for them to play Sweet Caroline with the Patriots versus country roads, where there's not really many country roads in New England.
Not true. I was up in New Hampshire this weekend, and there were plenty of country roads. So I dispel that notion.
None of them know where West Virginia is, though. I'll tell you that.
That's what I mean.
Oh my God.
No, they cannot play that
Those are the
road now.
kind of country roads I'm talking about, Eric.
When I was in
West
Portugal,
Virginia.
one of
The
them
hills
thought
have
that
eyes.
they thought Wisconsin was close to Massachusetts. I was like,
Multiple.
no.
I mean, I think it's Americanized songs that have found their way across the pond that are popular, and we sing along to those songs karaoke style. They kind of see that happening. They're like, we'll join in on the fun. So whatever, you want to have a good time singing Country Roads or Sweet Caroline, be my guest. That's all good. Yeah. Oh, Kraz, you could have looked out your window and maybe seen a Patriots player getting pulled over.
Yeah, I mean, he pulled his tweet down and he apologized to the
Who's
Providence
he?
police, Christian Barmore. He said it was a racially driven thing, and it wasn't. I have a friend on the force, and one of the first officers was a person of color, so that had nothing to do with it. He was driving an unregistered car with completely tinted windows at nighttime and on Manton Ave or in South Providence. And that's typically not a good thing to do if you don't want to get pulled over. So yeah, I mean, that's just, hey guys, go to the DMV, make sure your cars are registered, make sure you pay up all your, tickets, fines, all that stuff. Otherwise, you're going to get pulled over.
It's
And who was his first call?
Mom,
Mom.
mom, they pulled me over. I don't know what to do. You got to get out of the car. You got to get out of the car.
It's almost like he's a nice Jewish boy.
Is, is,
Big
Mom, I
mama's
don't know
boy.
what to do.
Ma!
I don't know what to do.
it's
That boy loves his mother.
listen,
Oh yeah, it's
it's
embarrassing.
it was embarrassing, but to on a more on a bit more of a serious note, you get pulled over. We talked about the Tyreek Hill situation that unfolded and the look that was. Um, completely contrasts the Tyreek Hill situation and the cops' actions in the way he treated Tyreek Hill versus what the Providence police did with Barmore. The Providence police, and kudos to them, and the job that they do and all policemen do is not one that I would ever want to approach or have any sort of semblance of trying to understand, because you're put into all these situations that things could go south real quick, real fast, and it doesn't really matter who the subject is. But for them to wear the body camera, and for that almost to, it either proves that you were being an asshole cop, or it dispels what Christian Barmore did, which is throw them right under the bus. And to have that footage available and to see that they were extremely respectful, and Barmore was just like off his rocker doing things that were out of control. Like, dude, just relax and do what they tell you to do and act like a normal person and you're fine. But when you're smoking blunts going down Elmwood Ave at 12:30 in the morning and you're trying to shove it under your fucking seat and then you act like that, you're lucky that you're not in jail.
No
They said
maturity.
that I mean the Providence police said that it would have just been a simple traffic stop if he just didn't have a
It's a
meltdown.
citation.
Just
Yeah.
just don't have a meltdown and you're not going to make the news and it's not going to be an issue and none of this would all be water under the bridge. So yeah, that's
We
it. It
wouldn't be
was a
talking about
huge
it.
yao for
Yeah.
him
Oh.
and for the team because even though you're not on the field, you're still representing the Patriots. So big yao.
What's next
1000%.
on the Patriots police report coming
Well,
next week?
what
Seriously.
are the odds? I mean, I get it, and let me say
Bob, what
this.
did you do?
Let me say
Did
this
you go
so
back
that
to a massage parlor?
people understand that, we what Eric said on a previous episode, we do not understand the African American man's experience when it comes to law enforcement in the shoes that those folks sit in. I understand that there are things that they just get treated differently because of their skin color, and that's not something that we stand for or want to ever see. But when you see the video, and I think that's why we have to break down each situation for what it is and the evidence that is put out there. And in this situation, just what we just said and commented on is exactly what happened, and that's what we'll do. We'll give an honest opinion based on what happened. So, but yeah, big yeah, for the, just add it to the list for the fucking Patriots when it comes to this entire season. Who's next?
I can
So
give
yeah, go for it,
okay.
Gabe. You go for it.
I can give a quick oh yeah to the
Oh
next
yeah.
Oh
Oh,
yeah. Netflix has a show on called The
Hell
Starting
yeah.
Five right now.
Real good.
I think I mentioned it to you guys. Some of you are watching it as well. Excellent documentary following some of our, the top players in the NBA from last season. Obviously, it makes it a bit more special for us because the Celtics won the championship and they do follow Tatum. So gives a lot of great insight on Jason Tatum.
No
and a few-
spoilers.
Yeah, no spoilers, but
They win the
everybody should
World
definitely watch that.
Worth the
Championship.
watch. Worth the
Yeah.
watch.
Yeah, no, and honestly, so I being a Boston Celtics fan, I don't speak for myself. I don't love LeBron. But it gives you a great insight of like them as the
No.
person and
I don't
behind the
think any of
scenes
us
and
love LeBron.
no, but this documentary
learned to
gives you
not hate
like
him.
yeah, you get to show a little bit more respect and
You do.
see a little bit more
Oh,
the true person that they are.
Great
So
dad.
I
if
agree.
if
Yeah.
if someone does not think that LeBron is a great player and a pretty decent person off the court, you're a straight hater. Like I
Hey.
don't like the fact that how the guy plays because he's opposing me most of the time. But the dude's an amazing amazing player.
I don't think it's that, Eric. I think it's like we as the outsiders, not the people that don't follow him every day. Like we see like the cockiness and like the having everything to be like when he got the big three together, it was like a huge production. Like I think that is where we've all gotten to like dislike him a little bit. Obviously, we don't like him on the court. He's incredible, but I think it's more of off the court where we're like I don't love him that much, but I think this starting five documentary has given me a little bit more like of a way to see him as a person and stuff that he likes like music and all these just different things that
As
makes him
the
more
elder
real.
statesman of the group, I think one thing that I've learned over the last couple of years is people who I used to strongly despise, because I don't want to use the word hate, people like Peyton Manning, people like Kobe Bryant, even
Jeter.
LeBron, you tend to get a respect for them, and after everything's all said and done, and their time being a competitor of yours is in the rear view, it's all respect, right? Like
Respect.
I even though I hate Eli Manning for the two Super Bowl wins he got against the Patriots, you know, why would I not want to tune into Peyton and Eli on Monday night? They give pretty good analysis. They're kind of fun. Like they know what they're doing. Like I have no problem with them. I was, really interested to see what Kobe was going to do post career, and obviously, I think we all feel bad about that whole entire situation. But I think the future was bright for him to do some really amazing things. So I know LeBron will do some good things too.
Eric, what you just said is 1,000% true. The
Hmm.
respect, especially as you get a little bit older, just in general, to have a little bit of a different perspective. I mean, these players are unbelievable. What LeBron's done since he came into the league, and the amount of pressure that was on him from
Oh
the
yeah.
from having his games in high school being broadcasted on ESPN to be number one overall pick right out of high school, and for the most part, getting off to a very good start. The way he's gone about some things, obviously, you look at him and you're like, dude, what are you doing? But that aside, I mean, the immense respect for that level of athlete, and when you're going up against them. I mean, I have to assume that many, many, many people feel that way about Brady and some of the other players that have come out of Boston. I
Oh,
mean, the ones that
100%.
we beloved are how folks feel about our players here as well. So, and one of the players we beloved in a really cool moment, and oh yeah, that I'll throw in here is the bridge that connects Charlestown to the North End in Boston has been rightfully renamed the Bill Russell Bridge, and they had what looked like
Nice.
a fantastic ceremony for that today, where it was officially
Saw that.
dedicated to him. Celtics front office and ownership were there, and Jaylen Brown was there. Another oh yeah for Jaylen Brown being on the cover of Time magazine, first time I believe Sammy Stats got it in there since Larry Bird back in the 80s. So thank you for
Correct.
throwing that in, Sam. And just a really cool moment for Bill Russell to be immortalized. Is that the word I'm looking
Yeah.
for here?
Yeah.
So that, along with the statue that he has in the bridge. And Jaylen Brown, shout out to him for all that he does in the community. I was thinking about this, like the leadership tandem that the Celtics have between Tatum and Brown, it's so
They've
complementary
grown.
of one another and how they've grown. I mean, the thing that Tatum said today, what he's gone through in life since he's been here over the last 7 or 8 years, how he couldn't see himself leaving, and what Jaylen Brown does for the community, in underserved populations and areas around here is truly spectacular. I mean, the Celtics deserve a ton of credit for their off the court presence and what they do, in the way that those players interact across the
Could be
board.
future
Definitely been a
future prep.
privilege. Yeah. Definitely been a
Could be
privilege to
fu-
watch them grow up. So,
could be future President Jaylen Brown there. That dude's going to go on to do amazing things after basketball too.
One
So
thousand
whether
I
percent.
it's in
agree.
politics, business, whatever, that guy is going places. So keep your eye
There
on
you go,
Jaylen Brown.
Biggie.
Hope,
Politics. I'm just kidding.
hopefully, I'm just saying. Hopefully, he's got a
I'm just
great long
kidding.
career with the Celtics, and I know whatever he's going to do after that, he's going to be amazing at.
Yeah, who's not going places? I got a quick for this Deshaun Watson. He's not going places because he got a really bad injury, but it not so much about him, but it was the way that the fans treated him. A lot of fans were
Yeah.
booing him or
He
cheering, I guess, his injury, which is
Bad look.
not great. I mean, no
not
matter
not
what
good.
someone's done off the field, you never want to see that, especially when the cart's coming out when it's a really really bad injury like that. Not to mention it's his third season-ending injury in like what I don't even know how many years, but you just never want to see that. So big yao to those fans. If you were cheering that or if you were booing that, karma's gonna come back to you. So
Players don't forget Miles Garrett and Jameis Winston were pretty upset after the game, and rightfully so. Like you're in the trenches with a dude like that, and if you see one guy go down, regardless of what he's done off the field and all that stuff, and you're gonna boo him, Why would any player think that you wouldn't do that to them?
It's
Yeah.
just a bad look seeing someone get injured and having fans cheer. So prayers out to his gross ass, groping ass.
The one good thing to come out of it is Jameis Winston might be a starting quarterback in the league, and that man is a walking soundbite.
Yes.
Oh, I love
He
that guy.
I'm Team James.
deserves
I
it. He
love that
deserves
guy.
it.
A walking man full of energy and life and vibrancy, and I really hope that he gets another opportunity. And
3
that.
TDs,
yeah.
3 picks.
Now
Love
he's
it.
got
He's
right
going to go
he's got
30-30.
Back to his
He's
numbers,
got-
baby.
Right on,
he
right
has
on.
contacts now. He
numbers.
can see. He
He's
can see
entertaining.
finally.
Hey,
He's entertaining.
we'll take it and looking forward to that, and looking forward to the Pike and what's ahead this week. A loaded week with obviously the Celtics getting started. We ran through the schedule. I think other than Wednesday this week, you pretty much have a game going on Wednesday and Friday. So games going on Tuesday, Thursday, over the weekend. Keep an eye on your favorite app where you check your schedules and times for everything, because it's that time of year where stuff is just constantly on the board. Let's see. Anything else, gentlemen, that's in the week ahead, but other than the Celtics and Bruins and I guess the football team that we
Enjoy the banner raising. Enjoy watching Shabuzi and Benton
Hope
Boone dance all over the NBA before the Celtics get their rings. So we'll break down the rings next week, guys.
Did anybody see them?
No, not yet.
a little betting thing that
Saw a
I'd like
little
to
one.
throw out
Little
there. And I
snippet.
knew we were gonna try and do a little bet here, but I like the Packers plus 4.5 again, or minus 4.5 against the Jags next week.
Oh yeah.
Packers
Wait, come
minus
on.
4.5
The
against
Jags are
Jags.
coming off their get right game.
Nah, I don't think so. They're not that good. Patriots are really that bad. So we'll see. I think the Packers are gonna blow them out.
one. We now welcome on a very, very special guest on a spectacular evening. It is none other than Mr. Ice, Elio Imbornone, who is with us. He is owner, operator, restaurateur at Tony's Place Pizzeria in West Roxbury, and also an affiliation with Barstool Sports, and maybe better known as Mr. Ice. And what a night for you to join us, Elio, because all 32 teams in the NHL are in action tonight. So we have to know what games you have your eyes on right now, how many games you have on, is the laptop open, and
Yes.
are you locked and loaded?
Yeah, the laptop's open. We got ESPN all over the place. I actually landed on Colorado tonight. That was the pick. Started off slow this year. Having a tough time reading these teams. I play a lot of streaks, and I feel like the way it started so far is, teams would play over one game, play under the next game. So no streaks yet. So hopefully, starting tonight, hopefully get on a little run.
All right. Tonight would be a great night to get on a run. And fellas, it's great to see you all again. We're gonna go round robin with some questions that we've generated here for Elio. I'm gonna kick it to Statty Sam Krasner, our resident Red Sox expert, for our first one, Elio.
Okay.
Take it away, Chris.
Yeah. So, Elio, again, I just, we want to thank you again for joining us. But really for us, we want to kind of get to know you a little bit more. So can you take us back a little and tell us a little bit about where you grew up and kind of where your passion and love for sports, and then obviously as you got older, gambling kind of came into play.
Yeah, so I grew up I live in Westwood now. I grew up in Westwood. I went to Westwood High School. I played 3 sports. Then I played football in college, University of Richmond. I played 4 years there, and then I left there and helped my dad with the restaurant. And I was the only fool to get involved in it, and now I'm in it, and I enjoy it. But I work for Barstool. I grew up with Dave. Oh, I shouldn't say, I met Dave in college, and we sort of began our friendship there and our love for gambling. And so I work with him now too, for him. And now I get the best of both worlds. I get to gamble and I get to work in a restaurant.
Is it true that Todd McShay was kind of the
merger? He was the merger. So he went to Richmond. He played at Richmond, and he used to always say, "Oh, I have a friend who you're really alike. I'm afraid to introduce you to him because you two love to gamble." Da 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 da. So it was like those, when you're in college, how you always know your buddy's friends and stuff like that. Well, that we used to call him late at night when we were drinking and at Richmond or whatever, and so that's how it originated. I met through Todd.
That's essentially this podcast, to be honest.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Gabe is the link
The
between
linchpin.
yeah,
Yeah.
between myself and Sam, and then Eric, and he has a brother Josh who's not with us tonight. So like Gabe is literally the Todd McShay of this
That's awesome.
situation.
Yeah,
So we're gonna that might be your new nickname, Gabe McShay.
Hey,
I
I'll
love
take
it.
that. I'll take
Well,
that.
Gabe McShay, you're up with our next question.
All right. Elio,
Yes.
nice to meet you virtually.
Thank you. Likewise.
We like your pucks, ponies, and pizza merchandise. We think it's very cool. We wanted to talk a little more puck. Wanted to see if you are a Bruins fan, first of all.
Yeah, definitely a Bruins fan. I actually like the team. This is the first time for a while, I've been excited for this team. I think this team can go pretty deep. They'll start off a little slow, but they've got some pretty big new pieces. So plus with Swayman, coming in late. But I'm excited to see. I think they need another goal scorer, but this is the first time I'm really high on them in a while.
Awesome. Yeah, and like you said, maybe get another goal scorer, work on this offense a little bit. I think they have some prospects in the pipeline that they might be able to trade, like Fabian Lysell or
Yep.
someone who hasn't really, maybe he's fizzled out a little bit in the NHL, AHL. We'll see. We haven't really seen much of him. Yeah. So how did you feel about that whole like Swayman contract situation, and are you happy that he's now signed as a Bruin?
Yeah, I mean the Bruins obviously everybody knows they screwed it up. I mean, Swayman, everybody knew that that's who they wanted, but you can't just give up Allmark until you have him signed. You went away, you went at it the wrong way. So you made Swayman's agent like he could do whatever he wanted because it was either Swayman or nobody, basically. So the Bruins screwed that up. So they figured it out, whatever. It's a couple weeks later than they should have, but so I'm happy. I mean, paying a goalie $8 million, I think the cap's going to go up, so that's not that big of a deal. But I feel like whoever the Bruins put in net, I feel like does pretty well. The last 6 goalies have been pretty good for the Bruins, so we'll see.
We got goalie Bob. We got goalie Bob to thank for that.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Goalie
I
Bob's
wanna-
on it. Go ahead.
I
Ian.
want to take it from pucks to ponies.
Yep.
We all had the pleasure of going to Saratoga this summer for
Yep.
my brother's bachelor party, and
Nice.
first time out there for me, and I think for most of us here.
Yep.
And like the only way I can really describe it is it's kind of like Disneyland for degenerates. It's just like you're in like the most perfect atmosphere
Yeah.
just to gamble and have fun with the boys.
It's such
Can
a
you
great
tell us a little bit about how you got involved going to Saratoga?
So I went as a kid with my dad. We'd go up like once a summer. But then, getting in college, I used to go up. And then actually Dave, his bachelor party was there. So then we used to go up for we'd go up for 3 or 4 nights at a time. Now Dave has a house there. We're going next week. We're going to the Breeders' Cup, which is every year. It's in San Diego. So I'll go to San Diego next week, which is the Breeders' Cup is it's the Super Bowl for horse racing. It's basically all year round. They try to get into each of these big Breeders' Cup races. So it's like huge fields, the best horses. It's one of my favorite weekends of the year. But Saratoga, the whole summer, because you go out to dinner, you're there with your buddies, you go to breakfast, and they got the card there. They're handicapping in the morning, so it's just a cool spot. There's not many places like that. There's Lexington, there's Keeneland, but other than that, I'd say those two, Keeneland and Saratoga, are the top 2.
Yeah, Saratoga was spectacular. We had an unbelievable time. The ability to go from like walking from the track back to the sitting area, the picnic tables,
Yeah.
and like that entire experience of a day. And I think it was the Whitney that day, and so
Nice.
that was a good one.
Yeah.
And then in terms of, we'll round it out here with pizza, obviously, and Tony's Place has been something that you've been involved in for a long time. I actually live pretty close down the street near McGulf, so
Nice.
we'll be in soon. But I think on a bit of a serious note, like, how do you sort of balance what you talked about at the beginning, the ownership of Tony's, working for Barstool and being involved with that? Obviously, you have a large family at home as well,
Yep.
and that life going on as well. So, like, what does a typical week look like for you, and how do you sort of juggle all the different things that you have going on?
Yeah, I mean, the work part, I enjoy the work. I like to work at the restaurant. I like to obviously do the stuff for Barstool. It's the kid stuff now that's absolutely out of control. I have 4 little kids, so they're on 2 different soccer teams each kid. It's just that's the only, for me, that's the only hard part in my life right now, is that I mean, working, the restaurant business is a tough business because the weekends are busy. I've got great help. I've had great my manager's great, so like I'm able to get away. So I'm lucky, and then obviously with my wife, with the kids, so I got it pretty lucky.
Excellent. Yeah, it's a full team effort across the board. So
It is.
Shout out to all the staff at Tony's Place.
That's right.
Mexico round for sure. All right, so we got a little bit of a rapid fire question set here to go through. So 1-word answers to these questions. First thing that comes to mind. Kraz, kick it off.
All right. All right. Favorite Barstool personality outside of Dave?
Jerry.
Jerry Thornton?
Jersey Jerry.
Jersey Jerry.
Jersey
okay.
Jerry.
Okay.
All right. Yeah.
Oh.
Jersey Jerry has come into Barstool and made a name for himself. And
Oh,
some of the
Jerry-
shit that he's done.
After Dark is amazing.
It's crazy.
The
Yeah.
hole-in-one challenge.
Hole in one, the free throw, and just what it's like Jackass, like modern day Jackass, and he's just coming up with these
He's
ideas.
this funny guy. Yeah.
All right, Big E.
Next one I got for you, Elio, is best restaurant in the greater Boston area that's not named Tony's Place. We obviously know they're number 1.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have to say, even Louis. I love a certain dish, a steak there. So I take my wife and kids there. That's my spot. I know it's sort of trendy, but I always enjoy the meal there.
It's a fun place to go.
It is
I
a
love
fun place to
Abe
go.
Louis.
Yeah. I used to go when I was younger all the time. So that was
Get a crock of French onion soup.
That's
Ooh.
right.
It's getting to be French onion soup season 2. So
It is. It is.
it's for sure. Avon Louis, Boston institution.
Yeah.
Gabe, round us out with the rapid fire.
All right, Elio. Best sporting experience you've been to or had?
Okay. I'm gonna probably say the Triple Crowns that I were at. That was pretty cool. At the Belmont twice. I saw Authentic and I saw the other. I can't remember. Another thing is I don't look at names on horses because then if it's my kid's name, I'll be like, oh, I have to bet that horse. So I am the worst person. I am the most I love horses. I follow horses like 7 days a week. I know no names of horses.
Is it American Pharaoh? Is that
the
the
American
other one?
Pharaoh? Yeah, exactly. American. How don't I know that? But yeah, that was my
That's
excuse.
awesome.
That's right. When you're in the ponies each and every day, they all sound the same.
They're all the same. They're all the same.
Excellent. All right, we'll round it out here. And as we said, we can't thank you enough for taking some time. But a new thing that we know that you're doing now is 300 Seconds of Mr. Ice. That we've seen on social media. Is a great new series. So we talked a little bit about some of the games that you're keeping your eyes on, but what's in the works just for like the Mr. Ice brand, if you will? It looked like IceCon last year was very successful. So we don't want to spoil anything here, but
so we're going to be doing
rumors?
IceCon 2. I'm not sure when it's going to be yet. It's definitely going to be in the South because I hate the cold and I'm from Boston. So it's definitely going to be, and it has to be somewhere where DraftKings is viable. So originally last year I had it almost all set up in Florida, but there's no DraftKings in Florida. So that was an X. And then the next place I went to is Arizona and they got their team taken away from them. So I'm afraid where the third venue is going to be because something bad might happen there, but it's definitely going to be it's going to be down South somewhere because I like the warm.
Wonderful. Well, we'll keep our eyes and ears open for IceCon 2 coming up. And as we said, can't thank you enough. Anything else you want to plug? Anything else that we should know about before we wrap?
No, I just need a lot of goals tonight. This is the first year that's been a little bit rough. My bankroll's taken a beating, and I know the Ice people's bankroll. So tonight we need Colorado. We need 7 goals. That's it.
All right. 3 plus 3 equals 7, as we all know. So, Elio, can't thank you enough for joining us.
Guys.
Take care, and we'll see you down the line.
Thank you.
We'll be following and tailing your bets. So,
all right. I mean, might have to wait a little bit. Wait maybe a couple of weeks.
You're gonna get hot after this. Yeah.
You guys will be the reason. So I'll owe you guys.
Let this be the start.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
yeah.
All right.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Appreciate it. Amazing. Elio, Mr. Ice, Imbornone, I hope I said that right, hopping on the Boston Sports Brothers podcast with a great check in there, just in everything that he has going on. Appreciate his time. We're doing a bit of a double dip here in recording, so we have to add a bonus oh yeah moment.
Oh yeah.
Of the night. Watching this game right now for the Celtics, which is fantastic. But the pregame ceremonies and TNT, the rings are spectacular. But boy, oh boy, did we have a situation on our hands. Kraz.
What the fuck happened? Why would you? The whole point of raising of a banner ceremony is to watch the banner go up. And what do? Halfway raising the banner, they fucking cut it to a commercial. Wicked and what was the other commercial that I said? I said, well, there was two commercials.
We didn't want to
Oh,
watch
Wicked
that.
and
That was insane.
like, what is going on?
Absolutely insane. Thank God for NBC.
TNT's got to get their money.
American Dad. Oh, that's what I want to see. I want to see American Dad in the Wicked commercial instead of banner 18 going up.
Yeah, that's
there's nothing wrong with those
$1 million right there.
Except when they're going up during a banner raising ceremony. Come on, guys. Like what the heck?
The whole point is to watch them, like the emotion on their faces. The thing goes
New
up
England
into the
watch
sky.
it.
I can't believe they did that. Bannergate.
I can't tell you how many times another championship team has won, and we got to sit there and watch the banner get raised. But when it's the Celtics, because it's their 18th, and we're used to doing this. They hate us because they ain't us.
That's right. Good way to end it there, Big E, with perhaps the most famous Barstool quote of all time. So
that's right.
We'll leave it with that. So near, far, wherever you are, thanks for tuning in to the Boston Sports Brothers podcast. We appreciate Elio and his time. We'll see you down the line.
See y'all.
Adios.
Peace.
Good night, y'all.
All right. Good shit, boys.
Good stuff. Good stuff.